Now we'd like to open for discussions with the audience, and people disagree. You guys can just form a line right in the middle. She's going to be first, because I promised her that. A line over there, I'm sorry. I guess switch the camera.
If you disagree, you get to the front, and this will be first.
Patriarchal society that is sending messages that men need to possess certain qualities, and I believe the qualities that they're suggesting should be adopted are bad.
Which quality? I just need to know what exactly you've seen when you've said that is an example of toxic masculinity.
I think men feeling that they need to dominate spaces physically and speaking over women, interrupting women, belittling them.
Yeah.
Do you see how good I'm being?
I mean, you can.
So, just a question. So, you just said when men interrupt and dominate spaces. Were you a toxic feminist when you interrupted me when I was on stage?
No, I was interrupting something.
I'm just asking.
That I fundamentally don't believe in.
I'm just asking because you're saying that somebody interrupting someone is now a symbol of toxic masculinity. You just interrupted me on stage, so are you a toxic feminist?
I wasn't interrupting you because I didn't.
You went bullshit.
Yeah, because you were
talking bullshit.
Because you were talking bullshit. I didn't interrupt you because you're a woman. I interrupted you because I didn't believe what you were saying. It's not that I didn't believe.
But maybe that's what men do sometimes. Is it possible that men sometimes interrupt because they disagree with what women are saying and not because they're toxic masculinity in the air? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Is that you're coming up with terms, and sometimes people just interrupt. I'm fine with the fact that you interrupted me. It happens all the time, and I'm not holding that against you. I'm just using it to prove a point that you've created an entire concept around when men interrupt women, but you literally just interrupted me, and you don't identify as yourself as a toxic feminist.
No, because I interrupted you on the basis that I didn't agree with the politics you're espousing, both of you.
Well, maybe men
not
are
because I don't
disagree
believe
with
in
what you're saying.
Because you're a woman. The fact that you're a woman is completely irrelevant to me.
But maybe it's irrelevant to men as well when they interrupt people. Men interrupt other men. Men interrupt women.
That's not the case.
We're
There's
society.
a culture of men's voices being valued more than women's.
What is your metric for
this? Give us one piece of data.
Yeah,
one.
like a data.
Any piece of data.
You can't just say there's a culture of men interrupting women. What's your data point for this?
Any kind of interpretivist data where you're looking at interactions, at dynamics, you can see. I mean, what do you want me to say? Like a statistic?
Like a fact?
Yeah.
Any fact.
Any kind of.
How about the stuff Dominique?
A recent huge cultural example, maybe.
So can I ask a question? Do you think we live in a patriarchy?
Yes.
Why do women live longer than men? Why are men more likely to commit suicide? Why do women compose 50+% of college
Why do we
graduates?
control 89% of the spending power within households if men are the ones that are going out and making all of the money, as we like to say?
Women have the sole responsibility of caring for the house and the children.
So it's a patriarchy that allows women a lot of responsibility?
Within a household, within a certain sphere, not a powerful one. The household is not a
Then why are
powerful
majority of
sphere.
business startups women, majority of master's degrees, and majority of doctorate degrees in the States?
The thing about women living longer, married women live the least long. Unmarried women live longest because they do not have the responsibilities, the emotional labor of being
Marriage
with a
is
man.
emotional labor.
Pardon?
Marriage is emotional labor for women, and that's
a great point.
Well, no, because the way that women support men, like. It's a huge part.
We live in a
They support each other.
I'm not saying no, they don't. No, they don't. I'm talking.
But so
about
this is sort of. I appreciate the discussion we're having. You're such a perfect reason for why I could never be a feminist because everything that I just couldn't. It's like. You don't really know why you're calling it toxic. You did the exact same thing, but you decided that when men interrupt, it's because you're a woman. But you decided that when you interrupt, it's just because you had a differing opinion.
You asked me for one example.
I know. And then you say stuff about the marriage and breakdown as an emotional labor. There are women, just so you know, that aspire to get married and have children and stay at home and raise good children, and that's okay. So, but why are you now making it seem like that puts us in a position that's less than man? Want to create a society? Be the person that raises every individual that's in society. Feminism has made it seem like there's something wrong with being a mother, that there's something wrong with being a wife. And everything that you just said is that. You have. It's not emotional labor. I want to have children. I want to raise my children. I don't want to be the CEO of a company and not have a husband. And that's not what I aspire to. And that's why feminism is having a hard time with a lot of women who are realizing that when they give up everything that they naturally want in life to be a feminist, they end up miserable and alone.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. Please don't tell me that I'm sitting here because I'm sitting here because I worked hard. I was personally responsible. I'm not sitting here because of feminism. No, I am not sitting here because of any feminist. Trust me.
So can I ask? Can a man
Yeah, but
ask a question?
feminism is supposed to be about choice, and what radical feminism is actually doing is taking away that choice and making women feel bad about wanting to maybe be the traditional view of what a woman is. There's nothing wrong with having a choice to do both. I don't really understand your point.
No, I agree. Feminism isn't trying to destroy the family. Women can happily be mothers, and they can.
You just said it's
be
emotional
wives.
labour to be married.
It is in some way. There is an imbalance where men.
It's
are going,
not. I don't feel that way. So does that make which one of us is less of a woman? We have different opinions.
What do you mean? Which of us is less?
You're saying that it is, and I'm saying that it's not. We have a differing opinion, and the reason why I don't like feminism because it basically tells us that we have to feel this way, that we have to feel bitter towards men, towards husbands, towards marriage, towards children, and that's why I'm trying to let you know the feminist movement is considered very radicalized because there are many women, especially conservative women, who just don't feel that way. We don't feel burdened by children and marriage.
Can I give you some facts, though, to support this? No? You don't want to hear from a man? Okay. Wait, you see how things get really dangerous and you start to generalize men and women all of a sudden, like you did?
I just wanted to continue the conversation that I was
Okay,
having
you can
with
talk to
Candace. Without you
We'll
jumping in
talk about
with
facts
your
later. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I understand that some women want a family and they want to be mothers. I completely respect that. But all feminism is doing is telling you that you do have a choice. And I don't believe radical feminism is pushing women into hating the family. It's just suggesting that maybe this doesn't have to be your lot. And some women have internalized values that make them think that this is what they want when really they might not.
So you can
I really do want a husband and children one day.
Okay,
So,
that's fine,
but
and
what
I
I'm saying to you is the
respect
reason
that.
why I don't like feminism is because feminists think feminism is mandatory. The second you find out that a girl doesn't identify as a feminist, you're up here and you're asking a bunch of questions. I don't like the feminist movement. I think it's become very toxic and very hostile towards men. If you believed in the equality that men and that women should be able to think whatever we wanted, you wouldn't be debating me right now. You'd say, well, more power to you because you'd be a true feminist. But you're not. You're trying to...
I think that you're belittling other women.
I'm
by
not belittling them.
by not
You're allowed to be a
engaging in
feminist. I'm not telling
feminism.
you can be a feminist. You could buy a pussy hat if you left today, and I wouldn't mind. I've never had an issue with people that are feminists. I have an issue when people tell me that I now have to be a feminist or that it's complete bullshit when I say that I think it's harmful to keep telling men that masculinity is wrong. Masculinity is a component of being a man. I think a society needs and thrives on strong men. There's never been a society without strong men. There's never been a society without strong men. And because I support that, you're upset and you're calling bullshit. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with strong men? Why does that make you upset?
I just think that the values, you referenced the Gillette advert, all it was saying was, the message was fundamentally just stop being violent, just...
No, it
wasn't.
No,
In your view.
Little toddlers.
There were parts
Boys
that-
will be boys. Boys tend to be reckless. They tend to punch each other and wrestle each other. That's a healthy, necessary part of the child development process. Trying to demonize that in the parental guidelines that Gillette was trying to have in a 30-second to a minute ad is toxic feminism,
That is toxic
attacking toxic masculinity. So let me give you some examples super quick. So you say, that's not what feminism wants. The predominant viewpoint in the university now in the States and the UK is an anti-male posture, whether it be papers that literally say abolish men, whether it be books that say the problem with men. You're looking at me funny. The Huffington Post publishes at least a weekly piece that says that men should have a less powerful role in society.
Cancel white men.
Cancel white men is a common theme. The Me Too movement... Oh, so you agree with it? Okay.
The men have done
Wait,
a
can
lot
you repeat what you
historically.
just said?
They've won every single war, every freedom that we have in
Can you repeat
society
what
is
you
because
just
of
said?
men.
I said it's because white men have historically done so much shit. They're just
So
asking
you
you to
do
stop
agree
for
with the
once.
anti-male posture. So your
No,
true
I
radical
don't.
feminism
I don't
comes
agree
out
with it.
after 10 minutes of cross-examination. Before you said, I have no problem with men. Now you said
you're
it's
saying
because
you
white
do.
men have done a lot of shit.
Yeah, but-
Now we get to revealing who you really are, which
that
is
is
a
what
hateful,
feminism is.
angry person.
They just hate men. There is no other platform.
They don't hate men. They're just.
You just
there's
said-
no problem. There is no problem with analyzing the actions of men in history and condemning them.
You mean like
What
winning
about all the
World
good
War II?
ones?
You know the ones
What
who
about all
died
the good
for our
ones?
freedom, so that's wrong. We can't do that.
Like defeating the
Or,
Nazis?
or people, men who had invented anything that men have invented, we can't use anymore.
Slavery
So there-
wasn't
there's-
ended in America because
no, there's
women were
positives and
fighting.
negatives.
It's complete hyperbole.
What about all the good? What about all the good things? Everything that we have in society, every war that was fought and won was because of men. Do you ever think
Half
about
the
that?
wars were unnecessary anyway. I mean, wars
But they
that we
happen,
fought
though.
and
Now
Now
we're
won.
spiraling. Now
Yeah,
we're
and
spiraling.
But they
guns
happen
were
and men
there
fought in
too.
them.
So what they won was that they started unnecessarily.
Yeah, women have
They
never
took the
started
control-
wars. But, wars have never been fought over women in this country. That never happened, Henry VIII. Right? What's the point?
Because he was an adulterer. I mean, that's a terrible example.
Do you think that women? Let me ask you a question. Do you think women can have done anything wrong, or that women can do anything wrong? Like, would you have been okay if there was like a strict razor commercial, like about toxic femininity? Would that have been okay with you?
Can you tell me what you think toxic femininity
Accusing
is?
men of things that never happen and
Yeah.
calling it sexual
Like
assault,
what?
like Brett Kavanaugh.
He is an awful man and a rapist.
Wait, he's a what? He's an
He's
honorable
an awful man. An
Hon-
awful man.
honorable.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.